Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be doing a concealer collection video for you. I've done a couple of these collection videos in the past and I really like them because I love being nosy in people's makeup collections. So today I'm going to be showing you all the concealers I currently have in my collection and talking you through a quick little review of each and what I use them for. And I'm also going to be decluttering my collection, so I think I can cut the pile down to about half and kind of stick to my favorite ones and keep just those. So if you want to see what concealers I'm going to keep and which ones I'm going to declutter, then please keep watching. So I'm going to start with some of the ones that I'm definitely going to be decluttering, and I think these will be a little bit shocking because a few of them, or a lot of them actually, are kind of cult favorite concealers. So first off, I have the Glossier Stretch Concealer, and Glossier just really gets you with the marketing. This is a beautiful packaging, nice like creamy pot concealer, and I have mine in the shade Light, and this is supposed to be like skin-like and very light and kind of stretch with your skin, hence the name, but this just did not work for me. I found that no matter what I did to set or not set or use different products underneath, it just kind of moved around and slipped and slid all over my face. I think I just have too oily of skin for this, and also kind of too textured and not perfect skin. But if you have perfect skin or dry skin and you just need something to kind of, you know, brighten up your face a little bit, I think this is a great product. If you like love minimal makeup, this is a great product, but it just doesn't work for me. Second is another definite cult favorite, and that is the Tarte Shape Tape. And I have mine in the shade Fair, which is the first problem. I'm super fair, and this shade is just too light for me. I tried to find a different shade in store and just couldn't land on which one was a good match for me. So I'm still waiting to find a good color match because I don't hate the formula. It is really drying, but it is super full coverage, and when I have worn this in the past, I've kind of made it work, and I've just gone for a super bright under eye look. And I actually got complimented on my makeup that day, and I think it had a little bit to do with this because the coverage is just so great and my under eyes looked so like bright and, you know, not dark, and everything was covered. But again, it's just a little too thick, a little too dry for me, and the color match is just off, so I think I need to repurchase this in a different color. Third is the IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye, and I have this in the shade Light, and this is supposed to have collagen and vitamin C and K, I think it says, and this stuff is just so thick. I think, again, my skin is just too greasy for this because no matter how little or how much I apply, I've tried applying it with my finger or my beauty blender, and I set it with different powders, just no matter what, it gets super creasy. And because it's such a thick texture, even though I try to blend it out around the edges, it just always kind of keeps this definite line and never kind of blends seamlessly on my personal skin, so I just couldn't get this one to work for me. Okay, so those three were kind of like the cult favorites. Now moving on to some other miscellaneous ones. I have the Amazing Cosmetics Amazing Concealer, and I have this in the shade Fair as well, and this is just a cute little guy. I think this is the small little sample size you can get from Sephora. They have a bigger tube available, and this is supposed to be kind of just like a multi-purpose all-over face concealer, really great for makeup artists, all of that, but this just isn't amazing. Like, it's not bad, but it's just, the tube kind of makes it difficult to apply because you kind of got to squeeze it out and then use your finger, and I just didn't get great coverage. I didn't get bad coverage, but it didn't like last that well, so overall it was just kind of eh. And I have other concealers that I think do what this claims to do better. Now these are kind of along the same lines as the Glossier Stretch Concealer and a couple other ones. I have this Benefit set. These came all together. I forget what it was called, but they came in like a cardboard box, and they have this kind of like cheap plastic packaging. But this has their Boyne Concealer in shade 01 and 02. It also has their Lemonade Yellow Brightener, and then the Erase Paste in number 2 Medium, and the Eye Bright, which is kind of like a bright pinky thing. And for the Erase Paste and the Eye Bright, I kind of replaced those with my Becca Undereye Correcting Concealer. The packaging's just a little better for this. I like the formula a little better, and obviously I just haven't used these very much. They're barely touched. And I think part of it's to do with this weird packaging. So those I'm going to declutter. And then for the Boyne Concealer and Lemonade, the Lemonade I just don't really reach for. I just don't tend to color correct with yellows all that often. And the Boyne Concealer, I like having kind of a creamy pot concealer like this in my collection, especially if you need something really thick to go over a really stubborn blemish. And this Boyne and the Glossier were two that I was hoping would be able to accomplish that, but neither of them really just like worked for me. The Boyne, I think the color match was just a little off. So instead of using that, I've been using my Clé de Peau Beauty Concealer, and this has SPF 25 in it, which I really like, and the stick just makes it a lot easier to apply. I can just dab with my finger and dab onto the blemish. It's super thick, it lasts really well, and it covers everything, so I've definitely just replaced all of those other kind of pot concealers with this one. And then finally, one more I'm decluttering is also this Josie Marin Argan Creamy Concealer. And this was something that I also kind of replaced with the Clé de Peau, because this was something that I would carry in my purse if I just wanted to touch up throughout the day. But now I kind of use this for that purpose. And this one is just a little too greasy and creamy for me. It's absolutely beautiful if you have dry skin, or again, kind of like less blemished skin with like you have nice skin texture already. I think this would be beautiful. My skin's just a little too oily for it. So wherever I try to put it on, it just is a little too greasy and doesn't like agree with my skin super well. But I do really like this product, and I used it for a long time in my purse just when especially on no makeup days where I needed something light and easy that was just gonna kind of barely cover a little bit but not be too heavy duty. I really liked this. Okay, and now we're moving on to what remains in my concealer collection, ones that I'm really liking and some newer purchases. So first of all, I already talked about the Clé de Peau. That's just a signature cult classic product. Again, I really like it just because it's easy to carry around and kind of use on the go if you need super high coverage randomly. Next, I'll talk about the concealer I'm wearing today, and that is the Laura Mercier Flawless Fusion Ultra Longwear Concealer, and I have this in the shade 1C. I also did a whole video doing my first impressions and review of this, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I love this concealer. The undertone is nice and pinky, so I think it brightens up my under eyes very nicely. This gives it great full coverage. Again, I'm wearing it today so you can kind of see how it looks, but I really like this concealer. I've been enjoying it a lot lately. This is kind of my go-to when I want to have that full coverage, heavy duty, you know, full-on face of makeup look. This is the one I've been reaching for a lot. And then another one that you definitely just have to have in your collection is the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Eraser Dark Circle Concealer. This little guy here that everyone talks about, I have mine in the shade Fair. This is just absolutely beautiful. This is probably my all-time favorite concealer. #1 spot because it's so easy to swipe on. It blends super quickly with your finger, but it's not too greasy. It doesn't crease on me if I set it. It just looks beautiful. This color match is really nice for me. It covers really well, but isn't too intense like a thick Tarte Shape Tape look, but you could build it up to get a lot of coverage out of it. This is just the perfect under eye concealer. You need this one. And then I have two concealers that are almost out. The first one is my Becca Aqua Luminous Perfecting Concealer. I love this formula. It's really light. It doesn't have that full of coverage, but it's a great everyday concealer. I reach for this a lot on everyday days when I don't want to go for something intense like the Laura Mercier, but I don't want to use something drugstore like the Maybelline. This is kind of my in-between. I really, really love this formula. It's not super pigmented if you have super dark circles or like a lot to cover, but for just a nice light under eye concealer that's kind of brightening and just really easy for every day, I love this one, and mine's definitely running out soon. Then I also have the YSL Touche Eclat, and I have this in the shade 1. This is their classic click up, you know, concealer pen that you can brush on and brighten your whole face supposedly. But I really like this because this is very pinky toned, and for a long time when I was wearing things like this, my Tarte Shape Tape that's too light, or other concealers that just aren't quite the right tone for me, maybe they're too yellow, I mix this in because it's very pink and it kind of saves any concealer look. So if you get too carried away with something too yellow or bright or light, this concealer is a good color match for me that kind of corrects that and balances everything out. And this has been going forever. I should probably throw it away because it says it's only supposed to last 6 months. I've definitely had it longer than that, but you just can't throw away a Touche Eclat. I'm going to use this until it runs out. And then finally, I have 3 more drugstore concealers here. The first one is the Maybelline Master Conceal Camouflaging Concealer. I have this in the shade 20 Light. This is also phenomenal. This is for like $7 or whatever it is from the drugstore. This covers amazingly well. I've used this under the eye and you get major coverage out of this. I've also used this all over the face kind of as just a quick base product, and it's beautiful for that as well, although for me it kind of slides around a little bit on my whole face. But for a super camouflaging under eye concealer, if you want something that's really gonna give you a lot of coverage under there, I would definitely recommend this one from the drugstore. And these last two I'm not too sure about, but they're recent purchases, so I'm still testing them out. The first one is the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow Concealer, and I actually really like this one, but I have mine in the shade 01 Classic Ivory, which is the lightest one, and it's just a little too dark for me on kind of fairer days when I'm like my very base color. So if I haven't seen any sun in a while, this is just a little too dark for under the eyes. It doesn't really brighten. But other than that, the formula is really nice. Again, it kind of reminds me of the Becca Aqua Luminous Perfecting Concealer. It's just really light and hydrating, kind of just a basic everyday concealer, nothing too heavy. And if you can get a good color match in this one, it's a nice, easy, everyday concealer. And finally, I have the LA Girl Pro Conceal High Definition Concealer, and I have this in the shade Porcelain, which again is the lightest shade, but this also comes out just kind of a little too dark for me. It's very yellow. This is probably the most yellowy concealer out of all the ones I've mentioned so far, and for that reason, it just is kind of an odd color match for me, so I might need to mix it in with my Touche Eclat or something like that to make it a better color for me. But I have worn it on its own and it looks pretty good. Like, it's very brightening, it's pretty full coverage, the little squeezy applicator with the brush makes it easy to kind of swipe it on. So I'm still testing this one out and the jury's still out on it, but I think I like it. And that was it for my entire concealer collection as of today. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing this video and seeing which ones I'm kind of getting rid of and which concealers I've really been loving lately. As always, all the products that I mentioned will be listed in the description box down below, so check that out if you're curious. And please subscribe if you haven't already, because I'm uploading 2 days a week at the moment on Monday and Thursday, and thank you so much for watching.